What's up, fellas? This video is for Eric. This is like the 4th time I've posted this video. I'm having some problems with my editing software. We're going to try this again. This is the beer keg boiler with the superheater. Let's see what we got going on here.
All right, Eric. So we're going to do this area here as kind of a simulation. We'll pretend that these plants are the vines. So we're going to demonstrate how we're able to kill weeds right next to valuable plants that can't be damaged. Just kind of going to go on this. I'm going to go ahead and treat this whole front face section here. And we're going to concentrate on this area right here. Okay, we just fired it up.
All right, we're looking at about 180 kilowatts of energy there. That was and liters per minute. This is liters per minute on the air. And the fuel, that is right around 190 kilowatts actually. This is the whole setup here. We're running at about $11 an hour on diesel fuel. And I'm not sure how much gas we're using in the generator. Probably a negligible amount. But we got this system fired up. You can see that flame is definitely hitting the bottom of that beer keg. And we're headed in the right direction here. We've got the air blower on to kind of keep things from overheating downstream there. But there's a look down inside the superheater. We are definitely getting some flame impingement on the bottom of that thing. That's hitting some stainless steel though, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too worried about a hole burning through or nothing. Okay, we're going to start off with the test on that plastic. We got a good issue of steam here. We're at about 400 degrees almost, and I want to show you how if you hold it on the plastic forever, yeah, it will eventually melt it. But if you were to just be doing it like you're painting it, it's never going to melt it in that small amount of a time. And that's all you have to do when you're killing the weeds, is pretend like you're spraying the weeds with paint and you're out of there. That doesn't take any longer than that. I'm just kind of holding it on this thing forever. I've got it on the hottest setting possible, and I'm just holding it there. Just trying to fry this thing. It does melt it a little bit right there on that last one, but that's because I just held it there in place. If you keep the residence time down, you're all good. It ain't going to happen. I'm going to try it one more time here. We are eventually going to want to get like some kind of hood, like a little pan to set down on top of the weeds to hold that steam in. Here's another look at another test I did with some plastic to show you that you can spray right next to plastic and it's not, even with me kind of holding it way longer than you need to, it's not damaging this artifact. This is a plastic crossbow target. So this is another area that I killed weeds in earlier in the week.
That's just steam with no air.
Alright, so we're about a half hour into it messing around. We're still right around 180 kilowatts. This is right about $11 an hour. And if we were to throw some more money into this thing, we could probably run on less. You know, if we had the whole thing insulated and all that stuff. Here's a quick clip of me hitting that area that we're going to take a look at in a couple of days. The results we see today aren't going to give us any valuable visible effect. I'm just kind of showing you guys the amount of steam gushing out of this thing, and that if we had a pan on the top of this, it would definitely improve it, but it's doing just fine the way it is. We're running at about 10 gallons an hour here when we did the time on the water consumption. Not as much as we were doing yesterday with the bigger air compressor, but we're still doing pretty good nonetheless. You can see here we don't have any black smoke or nothing coming out of the top of this thing. Got a completely clear exhaust. And we are at the same level we stopped off at. The splash cage is working great. We're not getting large amounts of water splashing up into the discharge there. I know you wanted some really wet steam too, Eric, and that would have helped that out, but the problem is we'd be getting calcium buildup inside that discharge line, and that could attribute to a clog
and possibly an explosion. We do have a safety valve on here that's 50 cubic foot per minute, which is a tremendous amount of flow. The second that valve goes off, you would want to shut the system down if that were to ever happen. So this is the area we hit. This is what it looks like after. We got to give it a day or two before you really get the effect.
So just for a quick contrast, here's what it looked like before, and you see what we did after.
Like nothing right now, but when we come out tomorrow, it should look nice and dead. The third day is when you really get a picture of what you did.
This is an area that I hit about 3 days ago in the blasting wind. When you're doing this out in the high winds, you really want some kind of steam pan to hold over those weeds. And I was also learning how to do this at the time. You want to hit the leaves themselves. Don't put the probe down inside the bushes. You want to keep it up in the top there. You can see an area I hit here on the fence that did very well. It killed that stuff pretty good. I was still in the learning phase here. This is what it looked like before. And as I said, the winds were just blasting that day. So here's another little test where I'm just blowing up a piece of plastic that's very similar to that sample that you sent me, Eric. And I'm not able to burn any holes in this thing, which is essentially what we want to see. And that doesn't happen. I also wanted to show you a little clip of just how well the other compressor was doing. It was a little bit more powerful of an air compressor, but nonetheless, I think we're going to do just fine.
This is an area that I hit earlier. This is 3 days. This is before I learned you have to hit the leaves. Don't bother with the base of the plant. If you do go with the base of the plant, make the steam shoot up from the bottom. So there is technique here. Just scalding the base of the plant isn't exactly ideal. The more leaf contact you get, the better off you're going to be. Here's a quick before look at this area. I'll try and find the before pics of this area. The sun was out, and that just totally ruins the contrast. So kind of hard to see it with the sun out.
This is just a small clip to show that you don't need to spray the stuff that much. You just pretend you're painting it. Just pretend you're giving it a good coat of paint, and you're good to go. You don't have to hang out all day to do the kill. Now, the sooner you get out there to fill, the better off you're going to be too. You don't want to let the weeds get all big, because if you do that, then it's definitely going to take longer to do the job. So getting ahead of the game is going to be essential to this being, you know, economically viable, I guess I should say. But for the most part, I just wanted to show you that I don't hit this stuff for very long at all. Just give it a quick little spray, the same as if you were painting it. That's all the more residence time you really need. And you want to focus on the leaves, not the base of the plant. See that brick there on the right? We should see that here in the next clip. And take note of that brick. That whole area is just dead from just that light exposure to the steam. So it can do the job. That when high winds don't help none, and there was some wind out that day, but for the most part it just shows where I didn't hit the tops of the leaves the way I should have. It definitely can kill though. Alright, this is just a quick clip of the unit when I first started up, just so you guys can get a look from a distance of the steam issuing. Not much else to see really, I'm just trying to get a look at it. But other than that, that's about it, Eric. I'm going to do a couple more tests tomorrow, and on the other side of this bush, and see if we can kill the weeds on the other side of this bush and see what happens. See how much worse it looks tomorrow. Also, I'm going to take some after picks after the stuff that we treated today has had some time to die.